live right now on Twitch. Boom. What is up, everyone? What is up? Welcome to Civitai.com's Friday guest creator stream. My name is Tyler, and man, do we have an exciting one today. And this one is going to be a little mind-bending for a lot of you. So, our special guest, whose Instagram I have on the screen right now, if you're not following him, I recommend going and doing so, is DotSimulate. Now, this man created Stream Diffusion, which is a real-time Stable Diffusion implementation for Touch Designer. A little bit of a warning for this stream. This is not going to be like a follow along, like slow tutorial. He's going to dive into Touch and get really detailed and show us Stream Diffusion. However, we will give you the links to the Stream Diffusion GitHub, as well as Dot's Patreon, where he posts a lot of the workflows and does a lot to help his community. He has quite the following on there. So, yeah, man, without any further ado, let me go ahead and get Dot on the screen. And Dot, give me a mic check 1 2 1 2 so that we can make sure Twitch can hear you nice and clear.
Do a little check 1 2 1 2. That
Twitch, Twitch, how does Dot sound? Can you guys hear him?
Pump the gain.
Boom, give me a thumbs up or something. Good. All right. And then also Twitch, if my mic is too loud, in contrast to the guest, please tell me in the chat so I can adjust my volume, because I think it kind of like sometimes, depending on the mic differences, my voice could be like way louder compared to the guest. So if that happens, just let me know. Okay, I'm gonna turn Dot up a little bit on my side then. Boom, we'll go right there. And I think we are good. So, yeah, guys, if you have any questions throughout this whole thing, please just type them in the chat and I will be filtering questions out. But I'm going to try to just kind of let Dot get into his flow state and do his thing, because I really want to see what he's going to show us. So without further ado, Dot, why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself, and let's get started.
Yeah, word. What up? I'm Lyle. Also DotSimulate on like the socials. I have been playing around with the Stable Diffusion stuff ever since it came out, and prior to that was doing a lot of real-time projection mapping and also some 3D content creation with Houdini specifically. So a lot of procedural tooling and building things in kind of these node-based workflows and chains like you see here. Stable Diffusion obviously pulled me in, and I wanted a way to play. Let's not zoom out too much. Wanted a way to play with it in an environment I'm comfortable with, and that was Touch Designer. I'm not too much of like, or at that point wasn't too much of a, I guess, code developer, full on like GitHub person, but I had access to Python and could run things within this. So obviously, when Stable Diffusion dropped, we were not able to run it in real time at this point 10 frames a second with ControlNet and everything. But that has been my goal for a while. And yeah, so I just have been, over the past like 2 years, making a bunch of tools within Touch Designer that are kind of extensions of various GUIs and various other AI models, or just different other real-time things like, yeah. But what I'm going to show today is the Stream Diffusion TD plugin, which is based on, I think I have it up. Yeah, so I am not the creator of Stream Diffusion. This is a open source repo that was released in maybe late November, early December, mid-December, somewhere around there. And what it did is it allows for the denoising steps to be batched.
Oh, mail.
And through these batch denoising steps, you can get an incredible speed boost in FPS when they're running it on Linux with TensorRT with the SD Turbo model, which is a 2.1 based distilled model, they can get up to 93 frames per second, or I guess 106 with text to image, which is pretty crazy. I'm adding a little bit of overhead since I'm running it in and out of Touch Designer or out and in of Touch Designer. And also you can change the prompts and the seed on the fly and also like ControlNet and other things. But yeah, so I found this and made a version that pipes out of Touch Designer through NDI, which is like a video protocol that can send a stream at a certain resolution into Stream Diffusion and then pumps it back. And now I'm at version 11, which at this point I've gotten rid of NDI. I've added ControlNet and also LoRa's, and you can add all sorts of different control nets and add as many prompts as you would like. So that's kind of another fun thing where you can mix a bunch of different prompts on the fly. The prompt mixing isn't like particularly great within like the latent space. It is interpolating between the prompt vectors, but I don't have a bunch of like waiting, kind of like you would expect within Comfy or Automatic 1111. But yeah, that's like kind of a basic overview of Stream Diffusion in its current state. I've got a network here that's doing a little audio reactive Stonehenge setup. And it's just something I threw together to show off kind of Touch Designer in general on the stream. I'm going to attempt to rebuild this whole thing live, starting in a minute or two. And I'm not going to like explain what every single node does along the way, but I am going to try to touch on those things to also give you a general sense of like what Touch Designer is good at and how it kind of differentiates itself from other programs that maybe like 3D programs that you would create something similar to this, but in its basic form, Touch Designer is doing this all on the fly. I'm not quite at 60 FPS, probably because I'm streaming and running a bunch of things on my computer, and all of the operators are visible, but all of this data is being thrown throughout the entire project, every frame, all the things all at once. And then I'm basically using the network to create a depth pass, and then using the depth control net. This is my input image. Nothing interesting, but it's good that it doesn't change, or else you would actually, that didn't seem to make too much of a difference. But if I go a little bit more like the input image, I can get a good variety of stuff. Again, doesn't seem
That
to make.
looks, that's so crazy.
Yeah, so I can get like denoising almost. So that's like way less denoised, obviously. And because it cycles it uses this t-index list, which is approximating 50 steps within the diffusion process, and then giving you a number of those denoised batches. And then these step points kind of indicate, quote unquote, where in that process it's estimating that the denoising would happen. So if you are denoising really late, you can imagine that most of the process is just getting the image straight from the VE encoding. But if you do it earlier in the batches, you get way higher denoise. And then also it kind of likes, like you can see it get a little blurry there when they're all on step one. It likes when they're spread out evenly throughout. But there's kind of like an interesting amount of fine grain control here. And unlike Animate Diff or any other models that might look a little, or not models, but processes that are going to look a lot smoother at this point, this is still just basically pumping image to image every frame. It doesn't have any sort of temporal understanding. Would probably get a little bit more flickery if I like randomize the seed of my noise, of my input noise every time. I can also randomize the seed of Stream Diffusion itself, and that obviously is like a lot more flickery. What I've found to get kind of the most stable of these looks is to have, especially with ControlNet, actually a pretty static input and almost just using it like text image, which I think if I could just go to text image here and now this won't have any effect. But if I denoise it, it actually, you get to see like the random latent noise that each of these seeds creates, which is fun. But let me try to even this back out. Yeah, I found that kind of a lock seed, locked input, or just using the text to image mode, which I'll switch it back to image just to, and then with the ControlNet being the main source of the movement is like really awesome to allow more control and more shape over the final result, but intentional. You can also change the ControlNet weight and turn it on and off. I haven't made it so you can change the actual ControlNet on the fly, but you can always basically stop the stream and then select a different ControlNet, like a soft edge type situation, and start again, which got that prepared. But I'll keep the depth in to show how it's like not ideal at first, and then in my command it pops up this, so it's like loading in the background right now.
We had a question in Discord. There's in this current implementation, there's no IP adapter for this, correct? This is just like straight.
Not currently. I have an kind of like a laid out process of, see, this is with the depth with HED, and it's terrible, but if you throw in the actual depth or the soft edge, it gets a little bit better. Obviously this is set up for depth, but IP adapter currently it's not enabled or set up. I haven't like set that up yet. I have an idea of how I would want to do it. It would probably be, you'd also be able to kind of like, Touch Designer makes it really nice to be able to add all these different sliders or different parameters. So in my LoRa section, I have the ability to like load multiple LoRas. You can't change the weights on the fly, which would be nice, but the idea with IP adapters is you would be able to load as many of these IP adapter images and then mix all of the different weights against each other on the fly, which I think will be really great. That's kind of the next thing, totally like the next thing that I plan on implementing. It's a little bit tricky since the whole stream diffusion process wants to be running in real time all the time, no breaks in FPS. So I'm going to have to like open up a new thread to be a clip embedding thread and then cache the embeddings that are kind of loaded, and then the actual like weights and how they compare against each other, and then getting mixed into the diffusion process. That should be able to happen live without any issues. Oh, look, this is that old photo, Laura. I forgot I turned that on just now, but
oh, sick!
It's working. It works really well,
dude. That looks so dope.
I turned off ControlNet. Like, what was the? Thought I had it open. Did I close it?
Hey, and then guys, let me just preface again real quick. This will all be posted on YouTube on Monday. So once Dot gets into actually going through and like rebuilding this whole thing, if you guys want to follow along, that would be the time to do it, and you'll be able to go back and kind of like follow the YouTube recording.
Yes, let me stop this for now, and then yeah, I'm gonna just do the thing where I like save it, but then delete the whole network, and we'll see if we can build it. And this will be more of like a hopefully fairly condensed and kind of quick, but relatively more followable along type of thing. But yeah, so yeah, that was a instancing system. Touch Designer, there's an idea of instancing where you can create 3D geometry and put it within 3D space based on certain types of coordinate data. And you can create that data in a lot of different ways. Touch Designer itself is built on a bunch of these different operators, each that is based on a different type of data. So you have like OP, which stands for operator, but you have texture operators, so the tops, channel operators, which are the chops, surface operators, which are the sops, mats, which are just materials. They don't have like a OP, and then DATs, which is like text or tables or Python code or T-script code or a lot of different stuff. This is kind of some of Touch Designer's super special sauce. But let's start with this instancing setup to create some like basic shape just with a circle SOP, which it's really small way down here. And then the SOPs are like the 3D geometry. So also all of the operators in Touch Designer have like these little interactive viewports within them, which it's nice to kind of examine what you're making. But I'm just going to keep the circle as is. I moved it around like this, but that's actually moving the camera in the viewport. I'm not actually changing. I could also like transform it and move it around, but I'm not going to do that yet. But for maybe just safekeepings, I'm going to put this transform here, and then the null. Let me change a couple things about the circle. I want to make, let's just go 10 divisions. So there's like 10 points in the circle. This is going to be the basic shape where we are placing objects for the instancing. And yeah, I'm just going to actually call this null position, which you can use nulls, which are just empty operators, kind of just data points that you can use to reference other things. Also, one thing that I'm going to show and then delete quickly is you can convert between these different data points. So if you want to go from 3D operators to channel operators, and then you can go from channels to textures, and then let me actually change this to RGB. So now every pixel holds the XYZ coordinate position of this circle, but it's actually through this SOP. There's no actual native way to go from SOPs to tops, but that's getting maybe too technical. But let's get a box, nice simple shape over here. This is going to be our actual geo that we're instancing. I'm hitting, can you hear that like terrible ring sound? Probably.
Yeah, but it's fine. Hey, Dot, real quick. Two really quick questions from Twitch
Yeah.
for you. One is, are all of the 1.5 control nets able to be used with the control net implementation, or is there like any that are off the table?
The one that I think I tried, and this was like when I was building it, so I have yet to go back and debug, but the in-paint control net, I think had like an issue with shape type. So there might be some like if statement I have to put in there to support an extra shape type for that. But every other one, every other one that I've tested is working very nicely with 1.5.
Gotcha. And then the second one is it possible to get file paths from an already like existing external folder the same way we do with Comfy when using this?
So I secretly just have a version of this thing next to myself if I need to reference it, but this drop down is based on a folder path, and it's actually my Comfy control net folder.
Sick. Awesome.
And
Right
I
on,
don't
guys.
have that set up in like all the stuff, but oh, this is still streaming. No, I think it just thinks it's streaming. This
Awesome.
is like a working model list, so it actually stores every model that has ever worked with Stream Diffusion in a little JSON with the path that it worked at. And you can also load by the model path here. And like you can see, this is just from my Comfy checkpoints folder. And then I do also like each of the other models, you can just load in a file path. So you can choose the file itself. And then there are some drop downs, I believe, in the LoRa, but this is actually based within the Stream Diffusion /model/LoRa. But I could make that configurable. That's a decent idea.
Sick. Well, we're going to let you get back to flowing. The last thing the chat wants you to know is that you have a very soothing voice.
Oh, nice. I mean, yeah, I guess it's better than not having one. But thank you. glad it's not too grating. Let me explain where was I? Box. Making a box, instant points, and then I guess another kind of little data point in touch, which it's not as clear with these like data operator types, but you also have comps, which are containers or comps, I guess, but they're just little packages where you can also collapse everything into another network. So all of these networks are networks within networks. A lot of the times, like my Stream Diffusion tool is actually like a network within a network, and then sometimes there's other networks in those networks. And yeah, but just another quick thing to point out that's really powerful with touch. I'm going to undo turning that into a base. And you can drag off these surface operators and put them right into a geometry container, which will actually then easily let us know that this is something that we want to render. But right now it's just one cube. So like I said, if I turn on instancing, and I didn't plan to do this, but this actually might be kind of fun. I think I should be able to use all of these. If I want my null position to be pause 1, pause 2, pause 3. Now you can see I should have left, the transform was down here. Let's add a transform here. It's just kind of good practice, because then you can leave your base shape static and you can transform it in any direction. So this is actually on the wrong kind of plane. Oh, go circle ZX plane. And then if we make it a little bit taller in the Y, so now this is like kind of like, look at, we're already halfway to Stonehenge. And to demonstrate what I was saying with like these different data points, you can use instancing with all of these things. So if I drag the SOP21, I have to change what this dropdown is, but you can see, oh, let's see. It's not actually right. Color RGB. See, I didn't prepare it. I said I didn't prepare it. I was like, let's see if this just works. Thought it should. Oh, I have that off. I think it's when I change the access, but yeah, whatever. Different slightly demo of how you can go from data point to data point. And then, but for now, I'm not actually going to use these in this. I'm going to kind of do the same thing in 1 second, but just showing that this is our basic position for these cubes. It was audio reactive, so let's bring a audio file in, which is just going to play a wonderful song, which I'll play for you now. This is like the default Touch Designer little jam thing. Everyone loves this song, obviously, but I'll maybe turn that back on to check into how it's sounding and looking. But you can bring in also audio files and do a bunch of different things with that data. I'm just going to pull out like audio spectrum, which does what you might expect. It lays it out within a frequency spectrum. You can change some of these settings here, but I'm just going to like bring the high frequency boost up a little bit. Let's go like 1.4. I don't know. And then I have 2 channels, so I'm going to take a math and just combine the channels with add. So here I'm adding the channels together, and we've got this little space here and the space here that we don't like. This is like in the low end. Let's just for
I
yeah.
guess they can't actually hear the song Dot for some reason.
Word, you can hear it.
So I can hear it. They can't hear it.
Yeah, if you're
What?
channeling, I guess my voice, that might be.
Well, okay. I think I know what it is. Wait. Hold on one second.
The audio from the
Try it. Try playing the song again right now.
Yeah.
Discord, could you guys hear it right now? Okay, so it's just Twitch can hear it, Discord can't hear it when I have my headphones on, so
Word.
It's all good.
Yeah, we don't need to be blasting it. It's actually kind of distracting with it in my ears this much, but I can turn it down on my end actually. But yeah, as long as it's not overpowering my voice, we can just like have some jams for a sec. Math, like I said, I'm combining the channels, and you can now see where this is coming from with the audio data. We've got this nice spike on the bass and also a little bit in the treble, but kind of get this like air. So let's trim that away. I didn't connect the notes successfully, so we'll just do that here. And not going to explain too much about this, but I'm just using the fraction on the start, so I'm trimming a little bit of the start and a little bit of the end away. That's fun. And then, cool, put that into a null. I'm going to take this and bring it into textures. So now you can see we've got like a little bit of that, and that's going from 0 to 1, and it's just translating that directly onto the pixels. And I'm going to fit this, which doesn't look that great at first, but this will help me make sure everything has the right amount of data. So let's fit this to 10 pixels by 1 pixel and fill or fit best. I don't know. But now we have 10 pixels of data that show the audio spectrum. Bring that into a null, and we'll call this null scale. And now I'm going to use this in my instance. So I'm going to drag this top into the scale operator, and it's not doing anything at first, but I think if I put it in the Y, we'll start to get a little bit of the closer to the Stonehenge. Let's make sure this is 32-bit just for kicks, and it's going to turn red, but don't look at that. Math. So I'm now just going to use a little math. This pixel data, you can hit A and actually hit display pixel values. And like it has this like little interactive slider. Let me pause so I can get the data to not be moving. What am I trying to show with this? Oh, all of this data is still normalized between 0 and 1. But if I multiply it a bunch, you can now see that the actual R value down here is 3.196. So these pixels are actually storing like 32-bit data, and it's going above 0 to 1. But like I said, I just hit multiply to 10. So now we can control the scale of those a little bit and kind of like rearrange this. And I think I did something along these lines. Oh, let me go back to selecting it. Oh, that's the wrong one. Math. And multiply 6, post add 1. That's too much multiply. Hone this in later also, but it's actually more post add.
Okay, hey, real quick, if you guys want to hear the music, tune into the stream on Twitch, because the his audio comes out better when I put my headphones on. So we're gonna do it this way. So yeah, if you're in Discord and you want to hear the music, go ahead and hop over to Twitch.
Oof, yeah, get him out of here. So I've got a stone hedge kind of moving and grooving. What's interesting? Let me change. I'm actually going to, yeah, let's add a little transform here. And actually, no, let me build the render setup. So we can actually get like a camera in here and start looking at what the actual camera is going to see. So the first thing to add would be a camera, which is also a comp. This camera is just set up right next to it. We're going to kind of like zoom back and translate up a little bit and then rotate down. Let's translate up a little bit more. And then this isn't looking that good without a grid or a ground plane. So create a grid. Do like my little standard thing that I talked about earlier. You got your shape and then a transform right after it to keep your base shape base, and then a null. Dragging out to geo, make it a little ground plane, which kind of there, but orientation is bad. Yeah, ZX, and then scale it up like a ton. 100. Nice. So this is honestly pretty much where the, didn't like when I moved the position of the camera at first, but yeah, I can also move the position of the camera here. And then if I throw down a render top, we are now rendering something, but looks like it's all black or all gray, and that's because I don't have a light. So all of these things, it's interesting. They're all living in just the same network, but they're all doing different things. Another kind of basic concept similar to instancing within Touch Designer for setting up these 3D networks is like also this light camera render top setup. You can also have environment lights, which usually I'm going to just open floating network, which opens a network inside. I add a constant and then link it there so that this is just basically a universal light that can light the scene, but for some reason this render is not showing anything. Probably because I don't have materials. So yeah, just moving as basically as fast as possible. Tyler, let me know if anyone is like, everyone might just be waiting for this section to end, get onto the Stable Diffusion, but
oh man, I think
we'll get there.
I think
or if like anything just doesn't make any sense, you're like, what the heck?
I think the group of people that come and hang out in these streams are more interested in just like learning and seeing all the crazy stuff that's possible than anything else.
That's awesome. Yeah. Heck yeah, I'll keep going. So throwing down just like materials and stuff. There's like not too many different like super fancy materials. You can get pretty fancy and write your own GLSL code that like interprets camera position and world space and stuff. We're not going to do that today. I'm just using the built-in PBR material, and then similar to all these nulls that I've been talking about, you can also drag a material null out. So instead of using this material node, I'm just using a null right after it. So in case I wanted to like switch it out with a wireframe, I could just do this. And then demonstration purposes.
Hey, Dot, real quick, when we watch you doing this, how much time of Touch Designer experience are we watching here that you have going on under your belt?
I started in about 2020 messing around with Touch Designer, and I would say that there's a lot of the concepts I'm kind of presenting are I'm ish trying to present like fairly key fundamental things that you would want to learn pretty early. I myself have 4 years building with Touch, but I'm also normally not really building like instance networks. I've done more of those recently, but yeah, there's so many different things that you can do with this software, and you can kind of do anything. It's really good at connecting with different sensors and stuff. And I guess maybe the trickiest thing about Touch Designer also sometimes is figuring out what to really lean into and learn. Because like learning everything about Touch Designer is an impossible and overwhelming task.
I
But
think
if
people
you,
fall into that
yeah,
same kind of thing with programs like Blender as well, where there's just like so much.
yeah, exactly. Blender can do the entire 3D VFX compositing, like start to finish workflow, and it's great. But when I was doing 3D stuff, I was using Blender a lot, and or trying to do full like compositing, rendering animations. I was never as into like final look dev stuff, so it didn't feel. I never really got into like the material stuff, but what I really liked it for was sculpting. But then when I started using Houdini, I started just pulling out Blender for sculpting, and it became like more of a specific tool in my workflow. And then I actually like got way better at that one thing within Blender. So like if you can find something, and it could be like Stream Diffusion and then messing around with that in Touch Designer, that is kind of one thing to kind of ish almost focus on, or like a way to kind of get into Touch Designer. But I think Touch Designer itself, if you're just like, let me learn it, and then you go on, like the amount of different information that you have to like kind of absorb and then cross-reference to feel comfortable with it is, yeah, it's definitely a lot. But if you want to set up like some feedback networks and make some crazy audio reactive visuals, you could watch 2 to 3 tutorials in an hour, and by the end of that, have something that's like really cool, and you feel like you've changed kind of the tutorial process enough that it's like yours. Because I also think that's like one of the things that Touch Designer encourages is like you can watch someone else's process, but since all of the logic is like right here, um it just encourages like someone that's like maybe following this, they're like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna like, I don't know, but turn these into like playing cards or something instead of the Stonehenge. But it's, yeah, like any of the 3D softwares, it's like it's kind of fun to watch the tutorials and branch off at a certain point and try to keep up with that crazy decision to branch off. But maybe that's also just my approach at these things. But
No, I think that's a lot of really great advice. Thank you. Didn't mean to pull you out of the zone there.
no, you're good. I'm also down to just continue while answering general questions about like the thing. Going to throw, I think I have everything set up. Yeah, I have. Yeah, but yeah, Tyler, if you want to shoot out more questions, if there are any, I can do a slight multitasking as well. But I have this depth thing that I made, which is a network within a network, and it automatically just sets up the depth pass for me, kind of with a couple fairly simple but like easy to perform little parameters here. There's also like this calculate live button that analyzes the maximum of the, or analyzes the average middle point of the frame, and then gives me that, and I can use that within a threshold with a little bit of softening, and then that I can then further contrast and use brightness to do a little masking and stuff. But this is a nice, quick, easy way to grab a depth map out of Touch. But to maybe slightly go over that, because this is like just something I built. Um, yeah, let's do it. Screw it. There's this depth
That
top. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's what we like on the stream when our guest says, "You know what? Screw it, let's do it." That's the type of stuff that we like around here.
Because this is, I mean, this is actually like kind of I feel like a bunch of people do this in Touch, but this is like kind of just a decent little quick trick that I figured out and probably stole it from someone, but I'm not sure. So
On Twitch someone again said with that voice you could have 1 million subs on YouTube. I think this is your sign.
yeah, I just need to. I just need to make more like casual shit. I have all these tools that I've made, and I'm like, cool, let me put out a video explaining it, and then I try to be very, like, I try to make a really nice video, but I just need to kind of like iterate quicker. I've said it for a while, but one day it'll happen, maybe soon. With enough encouragement, I'll definitely do it. Why'd I go into chops? Is that even? Yeah, no, that's good. So now I'm getting that data into chops. We got a little, just make a null. Oh, wrong null. I'm doing Alt N, which is a built-in keyboard shortcut that for some reason makes your Windows alert sound go off. Be wonderful if Derivative fixed that, which is the company that made Touch. But it is a wonderful little keyboard shortcut to create a null. And then I believe, what did I do? Threshold? That's what I was saying. So threshold normally is just going to do what you might expect. Threshold based off the luminance. But with this depth data, which I think I'm doing this again. Never mind. That's too hard to explain. There's like a shit ton of data in here, or a lot of data. I don't know if I can swear. I'm sure I can, but it's all so compressed within like this like tiny range of 0.98 to 0.98, a little bit more. So, and that's what we're getting here. But let's set our threshold at that. And you can see, sorry for the flash, but if you soften that a little bit and greater alpha, no, it's one of these, greater or equal, too soft. Maybe I won't be able to rebuild this live. This is why you make yourself tools, so you don't have to remember how to do all these things. And that's why I can just drag in this depth thing, drag the render in, and then, yeah, set a couple things. But let me look at what I was doing. Threshold, greater luminance. That's what I was doing. Okay. It's like exactly the same thing. Oh, it's me being silly. I was doing that to 1 pixel because analyze is giving me the average value in 1 pixel. But yeah, now that we have it plugged into the right thing, there, we got the depth map and level it out. And then this is also what I have, like kind of the or brightness, contrast, some, yeah, not gamma up, but now we can do a little remapping like I was doing before. All that's fun, and I'm just going to delete it because I have it here. So now we have our purple Stonehenge, and let's grab PBR, boom. I don't know, what's a stone color? Gray, actually. And looks terrible, but let's just put it in the background. And I'm going to add some, let's do some adjustments. Make this circle bigger. Yeah. And add more points. And then I can move the camera in the viewport here, and it'll be the actual camera itself. So like just move it like there. And then more null action, but you can use nulls within comps as kind of like parent-child relationships or like drivers almost in Blender maybe. But now that it's really hard to see. Let me turn off the display in the back. See this little wire that connects from the null from the bottom of things to the top of the cam. And with that, I can, let me turn this back on. Just type a little expression in the Y rotate abs time.seconds, which will just be the absolute time from the time you started the project in seconds. And now we are rotating the null. I'm going to multiply that by like 20, and we actually get the camera spinning. And so now if we throw our little audio back in, we have a not to scale or ratio of number of Stonehenge things, but a little like similar Stonehenge layout. Maybe do some basic material adjustments. And give my floor plan a material too. And let's make the floor green. It's like, that's not very grass-like. That's a little better. None of this is going to be impressive as far as, ooh, actually this fall off, this little roughness, that's nice.
That's cool. I like that.
And then just give these a little bit more something. So yeah, that doesn't resemble Stonehenge, but it gives a little block out of some sort of color action. I'm gonna change the angle of my camera here to whatever. I was gonna say I was gonna try to get rid of the horizon line, but it's not a big deal. In the depth map, it's just dark. But let's maybe move it down a little bit more. Ooh. I can hone all this in once I bring in this stream diffusion shit too. Come on. There's these ladder things, so I'm hovering over the parameter and then holding my middle mouse button down, and it pops open these value sliders, which if you move your mouse left and right, you can then change on different scales of the parameter. And it's just really nice to have like some really super fine-tuned ones, but some, yeah, just different levels of control within these parameters. But you can see my depth is like flickering a little bit, because that's why I've calculate live on. If I turn that off, it will no longer do that. Let me just copy and paste stream diffusion in, because that's kind of the way to do it at this point. Getting an error probably because I've got a bunch of references that don't do anything. Actually, let me pull it in super fresh. So this is like default settings. None of this stuff is set up yet. Just gonna choose my folder. So this is like my install folder, and now it's pretty much set up, because once your install folder's set, you get your, I'm gonna turn this music off. Not that it's, let's just, maybe someone can still hear it, but it was a little loud for me. Now you have your working models and all things set up. The ControlNet folder I will have to set. So let's go output, Comfy UI, models, ControlNet. And now I've got all my ones there. Just quickly move into, let's go depth, turn it on. And then I also have this like preset model configs thing, which will save your main SD model, all of your ControlNet settings, all of these settings, and your LoRa settings, and whether or not these are turned on. So then, like I have like this, I guess, depth map set up. If I load that, it will automatically load the Hyper SD 1.5 4-step LoRa, the depth map LoRa trained by Phil, and also this Epic Realism, Purist Epic Realism V40. I don't know, just some random 1.5 realism checkpoint. But now that I have that all loaded, I mean, yeah, I could start streaming with that setup. And then this is designed to almost actually generate depth maps. So it's not using ControlNet. We'll get there in a second, but there's just something else that's fun to show off real quick. Recently also updated this loading screen, so it shows each of the models and when it's starting to load and when it's stopping, so slightly more handy. Ooh, doesn't that look so good? Let's just plug in this. And we got default fancy banana doing
That's
some crazy
awesome.
stuff.
That's awesome. I love it.
We almost have, yeah, like, not sure if I'm going to be able to create a banana depth map just from this input, but if I say depth map, black and white, dark sky, what were the, yeah, there we go. Now it's like, let me create a better text prompt for me to do some prompting. Multi-line, word wrap, editable. Yes, that's all I need. Copy. Oh, I'm actually gonna copy that, paste the reference, paste that back in here. Oh, even though derivative was kind of fun. I don't know what it's making, but oh, it's adding some words in there. Solid. If I went to text to image, it would be much less. So this is what derivative is according to this depth map. Not sure.
For a second there, it looked like it wrote the word derivative in the circle for like a brief second.
But yeah, I have not played around with this, but there's this thing that I made that's like this travel table, which will automatically kind of attach itself to the Stream Diffusion TD operator, which is every operator has a name down here. That's how you can identify them. Every operator has a path and all sorts of stuff. But with this guy, oh, I don't know why I popped over there, but I can hit this auto set seed blocks, which now you can see I have 2 seed blocks created. Each has their own seed specified, which is specified by this long Python expression that is basically just telling it to look at this value, I think. And then I have 2 seeds that I can then hit this, like, kind of start doing like seed travel, I guess. If I go a little bit slower, you can see these seeds are now cycling through and blending between 2 different seeds, and you get a little bit of the interpolation behind this like awful prompt. But yeah,
whoa,
like, what's a better prompt? Just derivative is giving us some cool stuff, but I don't know.
Dude, that's so smooth. It's crazy, especially since there's no temporal understanding between the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is just text to image, live seed travel, I guess. But with the depth map lore, it's really fun. I haven't messed around with like trying to use this as a animate diff input, but I was thinking about that, and I think it could be really cool.
Just as an input video, and like you could probably run this too without even using the depth preprocessor.
Yeah, exactly. Just using it as so if like it breaks a little bit if you add something like really sunny, like sunset. But yeah.
Dot?
Yeah.
What's your VRAM usage at the moment?
10.1. So yes, Stream Diffusion, it's all LCM distilled 1.5 usually, especially with ControlNet, which I'm not using ControlNet right now. This is just text image. But yeah, the VRAM, it definitely likes a faster GPU, and you're going to get a faster frame rate, but it's going to stay under 12 gigs of VRAM, even with ControlNet. And you can run it on like 6 to 8, but it's going to be a little bit limited as far as speed.
The frames per second you mentioned were with 4090 or what?
Yeah, I have a 4090. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not coming up with Ooh, we can just go promptless. That's a little dangerous. See what the 1.5 model wants to show you.
Yeah, we know all too well.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like interiors and yeah. Then it pops up. Oh, there you go. But yeah, this is the depth, some depth setup where, how'd I get here? Oh, I was talking about the model presets. But yeah, so you can like also save a preset. But let me now get out of this preset and just try to get us back to, with the LCM, Photon LCM, which is here. You actually want to not use the LCM. So I will probably add a toggle for this in a future version that's just do not use LCM. But for now, you can turn on use custom LCM and have the model slide be blank. And it'll error out, but there's a try except for the error. So it'll just like forget it and move on. Control net depth, let's turn that on, and that is all we need. So start streaming, plug our depth in, and then, I mean, I did make a point to like make this pretty, but like I had shown in the beginning, it's actually a little bit better. Maybe I'll demonstrate this, but a little bit better to just give it some like random noise with about this much detail. It's just what I found. But now we have a 0 prompt Stonehenge moving around and grooving around, and you'll notice it's maybe a little flickery. It might be a little bit more stable. It's actually, there's like no difference between those two, probably because it's on text image to mode. Now, if I turn on image to image, this will probably be significantly more stable than that. But you do get the colors. I could just lock this. I don't know. There's a bunch of different things you could do, but we'll just keep it in there like I had it. And Stonehenge. What was it? Night sky. Skyle. Grassy field. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Good prompt technique right there. And now we have built back up to Stonehenge. And like I was saying, you can like mess around with like the camera and stuff. You can make the camera spin way faster than it should. Just kind of, you're not going to get that sort of like world space data, but yeah.
Someone asked if you can throw northern lights or like Aurora Borealis into the prompt real quick and just see what.
Yeah, let's see if I can spell that. How do you spell that?
Dude, I think a really big thing for a lot of people seeing this for the first time right now is like seeing the, like someone said in Jaroni in our Discord chat said the immediacy is outstanding. And I think this is something that a lot of people in like this context with it reacting to music and stuff haven't quite seen from Stable Diffusion yet.
Yeah, and just the feedback that you get, I'm just gonna copy and paste that. The feedback that you get from the model real quick, and then you can just see what works so much quicker. Like another thing, and maybe it's kind of hard to show it with like this basic setup also, but I was messing around with the normal control net, and there were certain things that it was doing that was like really, really awesome. I could get this is pretty, it'll probably look like
here
crap,
we have a question from Twitch that says can we load one or more FBX 3D models format or animated Alembic in Touch Designer to be used with Stream Diffusion?
Definitely. Yeah, so like it's going to, these surface operators are not the most optimized part of Touch Designer, so it's going to not be great if you like go, like there's a file in, so you can, I guess, what is the basic file? Just like some coordinate cube. Fun. So you could drag, I don't know if, do they have any basic files? Oh, they might. Let's see. Teapot. Yes. All right, sick. So now I got a teapot. And let's drag that into
That
a
seems so
geo.
random. That seems so random.
And this should just be working, right? Yeah, no, sick. Now we have our teapot. See it? Nice.
Oh
let's
my
make
god.
let's make it bigger. And actually, let's stop rendering this. So now let's focus on the teapot for a minute. Oh. So now we got the classic teapot. Yeah, this is like the teapot is like this, like I forget when it's from, but it's like a mathematical achievement in order to, like, there's like an equation that creates the geo of the teapot maybe, but it became like a pretty prolific thing within computer graphics maybe in like the 1970s. I'm totally not saying any of that correctly, but if anyone actually knows that, throw it in the chat. But maybe there's more fun files. I think that's pretty much yeah, these are like, oh, my computer's freaking out. And yeah, that's fun. It's wild how it's so sensitive to the actual geometry. I think, let's see. I have only 2,000 points. This is probably fine. What happens if I subdivide this? Oh, that's not, I didn't click on subdivide. Oh, yeah, so I can probably now, yeah, I can see how those lines went away when I subdivided it. It's like wild because in this depth pass, like my human eye, I can't pick up on those unsubdivided lines. But somehow the freaking Stable Diffusion control net is actually able to see the division of the geo through that depth pass and consistently do it every frame. And with the subdivision, it can't. And it might be like a little smoother, but I'm only seeing banding on the actual depth pass. Like, I don't know. That was like that kind of blew my mind. But like whatever person in chat on Twitch said, which like just the immediacy of these things, like you wouldn't notice and be able to be like really quickly like A/B test that unless it's like just happening right in front of you. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy that the depth data is actually able to send something into Stable Diffusion that I can't conceive with my eyes.
Yeah,
But yeah.
this whole thing is man.
Let's change this.
When you put the teapot in the middle of the Stonehenge thing, though, that looked insane.
Or glass. Teapot. Translucent. Glass. I want glass. Translucent. Clear. I don't know how clear of a glass we're going to get, but...
See-through.
True.
Or add
Heck,
transparent.
Yeah, transparent, see-through, super clear. Yeah, that's definitely one of the limiting things, especially with the 1.5 models within Stream Diffusion, is kind of the prompt accuracy, especially compared to with all of the different specificities that you can get within the weighting and stuff. You can blend prompts, like we went to sunset, ocean waves, beach, summer, day, waves.
But you could probably try to use.
I could get, and then kind of like actually do a little prompt travel between these two prompts. So now we're in between them, and now we're fully with this terrible glass prompt. But this ocean waves is definitely a little bit nicer there. So if I turn up my seed travel speed, you can see these are like cycling through way quicker, but you get almost like a little time lapse look. I can get this going
Whoa.
super fast, like at 5. So now we're really moving through some seeds. But you'll notice FPS doesn't drop or anything, and yeah, this is a cool look. Beautiful teapot. Wow.
Yeah, dude, this is incredible, Dot.
Yeah, how do I make the let's get rid of the ground plane. Oh no, the teapot ground plane. That's no fun. I was gonna say I want to start like I want to spin this teapot around, but or no, not there. Like just here. Oh, teapot's going into the ocean. But yeah, I do want to play with more 3-dimensional stuff within TD. There's also like a whole flex solver, which I haven't really messed with. Yeah, look, put them into the ocean. I haven't messed with that with ControlNet with Stream Diffusion, but there's like a full fluid simulation setup that you could, in theory, use. And now the teapot's gone. But yeah, there's so much. But yeah, I guess that's maybe the end of like me just like flow state hacking away. If we wanted to move into questions, or if anyone wanted to like, I don't know, see some random stuff real quick.
Does someone ask if the Stream Diffusion implementation has the ability to use any LoRa's? It does, right? Because you use that film LoRa on it.
Yeah. So this would be definitely something I want to be able to like change on the fly, because mixing LoRa weights, as far as like the immediacy, because that's the coolest part with this, is when you can, like, I could turn off ControlNet, see now what it's looking like, and now turn it back on, or even like blend in like the perfect amount of ControlNet. Now we're just getting a little bit, we're actually getting like a weird ocean wave teapot. That's fun.
Dude.
And if you pump the ControlNet, you can see like it just like, oh look, I can go weight of like 5,000. Or maybe I broke it actually. Oh, never mind.
You went too far above the power level.
You can't do weight of 5,000. Hell yeah. Well, you learn something every day. You can always just stop the stream, start it again. Do I have it on 5,000? Cool. Hell yeah. Maybe I'll find where that cuts off and add a little limit on this parameter.
Well, Dot, since we're coming to the end here, why don't you tell people if they visit you on your Patreon, tell them what they could expect to find on there if they want to actually venture in and dive deeper into this.
Yeah, word. So Stream Diffusion is one of many touch designer operators. I think it's definitely the most accessible for people that aren't already using touch. It's a nice little maybe way to play around and get comfy in it, but I have created, I more so on the Patreon definitely present tools that people can use. I have a couple different tutorials and I'm happy to answer questions, but I'm more so presenting like this operator with like the bunch of my custom code, and then it's all in this wrapper with the parameters that are more easily accessible. I am planning on putting out this summer much more, I guess, like tutorials and content. I have kind of decided to maybe back away from more like freelance heavy and just do more like community engagement, also just posting a little bit more art. But yeah, so maybe expect a little more output on the educational side this summer from me. But right now it's like a lot of tools. I have a Stream Diffusion tool. I also have like this, this is gonna say like I'm not set up, but I have like this chat tool, which is just a full like interface for 4 different ChatGPT services: OpenRouter, OpenAI, Grok, and LM Studio Local. And I think OpenRouter now has like, let's see, 153 models available, which is crazy, including like all the new stuff. But this is not set up, so might not be able to show that right away, but I could open a different project that has a couple other things. I've made a text to music and music to music or music remixing thing for Touch that uses Music Gen from Meta. I've also got a tool for Comfy UI and an automatic 1111 tool. Some building out this like real-time speech to text tool, which is an API non-local based thing. But yeah, I'm trying to build like kind of a suite of different operators that make the working with these models and these larger, more powerful generative processes easier within Touch. This is the, just pulled it open real quick. This is the actual like chat interface, which I think it's like set up to do full callbacks with like a person speaking. We'll see if that works. Of course, I'm asking GPT-4o, pressing it, what's your favorite thing about the past 20 years? But if I was to launch, let's see if this works. Okay, it launched in the background. It's active. And if I was to say, hey, to the AI model, you can see that it's coming in, and I'm just going to speak some random shit and then hit stop here, and it'll come in and...
Hey there. Feel free to continue when you're ready.
Did you hear that? Did that come through?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, write me a story about Touch Designer. I don't know. This is just some random shitty thing that I'm throwing into some shitty new OpenAI AI model.
Hey, Dot, we had a question in Twitch that said, they asked if the ControlNet feature is available now through your Patreon.
Why is this not? Yes. Why is this not stopping? Stop. Volume. There we go.
The AI has taken over.
Yes, it's a little too good at that. But yeah, ControlNet, I dropped this exact operator 2 days ago. It's been on my Discord as like a unannounced release, but on the main little Stream Diffusion download page for like a week and a half now. But yeah, so this can be grabbed with a Patreon sub. And it's available for all the tiers, like $5, $10. Then I recently did add a higher tier that no one should join unless they're making a lot of money using my stuff.
Sick, man. Guys, today has been absolutely mind-blowing for me. I hope that it has been for you guys as well. Let me bring my camera back here so I'm not just speaking into the void. Dot, dude, thank you so much for coming on and like showing us this, and for even just like being willing to show us this so that I could record it to put this on YouTube after the fact, so that, you know, everyone can go back and rewatch this a million times to
Hell yeah.
wrap their head around everything.
I mean, like I've said, I'm trying to put more stuff out, like me showing my process with the stuff I'm making for other people. I've been making a lot of tools for people, but also good to kind of just show the stuff. So it'll be great to have this out there for me to also send to people and to be like, oh, this is easy. Time to start making some more stuff. But yeah.
Sick. Well, man, look, I can't thank you enough. Before we sign out of here, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone all the places where they can find you and where they can look if they want to get into stuff like this.
Yeah, so I'm DotSimulate on all the social medias. I would say I've actually been like fairly silent across those, not for any pure reason. I probably should be posting more. Hopefully will be posting more soon now that I've got like new control net stuff to play with. But yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, also Patreon to get the tools themselves. And then I've got a server that is, I will throw a link just in the Discord thing for anyone within the Discord thing to join. But you can also access this, I believe, within. I think there's a link on my Patreon as well.
Can you DM that to me?
Yeah.
I can throw that into the chat then.
That is
I think- yeah,
Eurotaku Talling, by the way.
Word. Thanks.
Dude, awesome. I had to watch the chat the whole time, so I'm definitely gonna go back and rewatch this because I try to dabble in Touch Designer at like just a little bit every month or every 2 weeks because it is something on my laundry list of things to get better at and learn because I can see how powerful it is when combined with everything that we've been doing with Comfy and Animate Diff. Guys, I really enjoy bringing people like Dot on here so that you all can see like how wide and far reaching all this stuff that we are doing is, and so that when the people that tell you that we're just pressing buttons tell you we're just pressing buttons, you have a great grasp of how difficult the buttons we're pressing actually are and what an actual special talent and skill this is.
Yeah, you can do stuff associated with this tech by pressing buttons. That has never been a way that I've approached it or really thought about it. Let's see if we can just get Saturn going. But yeah, there's levels to these things, and I think people choose how kind of granular the control that they want to have. But as the models and stuff get more powerful, there's just more opportunity for like more really intentional specific control. Like now, look, I got Saturn right there.
That's, oh my god.
And I think let's just do one more thing real quick. Noise. And then time slice. If I go X, Y, Z, YT, but that doesn't matter. And now I can do a little rotation on the whole geo. It'll get more interesting soon.
Please tell me you will make the rings bounce.
Now we got
Ooh.
Saturn just kind of floating and moving around based on like some like random noise.
That's so sick. Guys, this is so dope, man. Oh my god.
This is a better idea than the Stonehenge. But yeah, you gotta find the right prompt where it's not trying to draw Saturn behind him as well. And then I could bring down the period of the noise so we get a lot more movement. All these things can be driven by audio, driven by sensors, interactive. You can use webcam inputs. Yeah. Super fun.
I can only imagine what this stuff is going to look like as like the models we use for everything continue to get better and you can just be doing everything in real time. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's looking fun. It'll be interesting to see if new architecture, new models provides more, or if just it's like a matter of just finding more tricks. Like I really do think IP adapter will add a lot. Like the ability to prompt with an image of Saturn versus trying to be like Saturn to this model, which is already LCM. It's already condensed so much of the prompt conditioning space that it's able to do. Like, yeah. That, not sure what the timeline on that, but I'm also very interested in case anyone wants to get a little more into the dev side of this, I definitely understand how I've laid out this operator, but that is something I can't explain to someone. We recently had a community member build out Mac support for this, so this also now runs on Mac. It doesn't run fast. You might get on like the nicest Mac 6 FPS. With ControlNet, you might get 3 FPS, but it's still great because so much of the comfy stuff doesn't run on Mac. But yeah, it's exciting to see more people coming in the community, and also some other like developer type people that might be able to even help me out how to figure like how the heck to shove IP adapter into this thing. But yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure everything that you just showed today are going to pull even more people into the community. And man, yeah, Dot, thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you and Spence and Phil and
God,
Pixel
yeah.
Pusher and all the guys at the end of the month in Culver City for our little meetup. So looking forward to that as well and getting to shake everyone's hand. Guys, next week, our guest creator stream, we are going to have Purs on. If you don't know
Hell
Purs, see, if you don't know Purs, then you must not be around the AI Twitter space, because Purs is the man. We call him Papa Purs, and he's going to be joining us, and we're going to
That's
definitely
incredible.
get into some craziness with him. If you guys are around and you're not doing anything tomorrow, I'm not too sure what time, but Purs actually does his own stream, and tomorrow he is having our good friend Sir Spence on, and they're going to be doing some craziness. I think they're going to try to like build comfy nodes or something. So if you're not doing anything, if you're not doing anything, you're around tomorrow,
Definitely
go
catch
check
that.
out Spence on Purs's creative exploration stream on, I think, Twitch and YouTube, 5:30 Eastern on YouTube, Kat said. Well, man, Dot, once again,
Awesome.
thank you so much. Twitch, guys, this is Civitai.com. My name is Tyler. This has been the guest creator stream. We'll be back on Monday with Ali's general Civitai Q&A stream. And hey, before I get going, if you guys have not checked it out, go check out our brand new Civitai cosmetic shop. Anything you see in there that is animated was done by yours truly, along with my wonderful coworker Faya. We have put in many hours and worked very hard on the on-site cosmetics, so make sure you go check the shop out. We, I believe, are just released a whole bunch of new ones today, or if not, they are coming very, very soon, because I just made a lot in the past couple days. So, guys, this is Civitai.com. We'll catch y'all next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Go check out our friends tomorrow on Pur's stream. We're out. Peace. Dot, thanks again, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Turning Twitch off right now.